Hello gamers, I'm not in casual. Sadly he has the flu and has lost his voice. I'm Bamkins and I will be your commentator today. I'm going to talk about Ashes of Creation, more specifically about the predatory monetization tactics. This is not a hate video, so regardless if you don't mind these tactics or as someone that really dislikes them, try to remain civil and respectful. Constructive criticism is the aim and not throwing mud at each other. I also want to make it clear that I will not be going into details about the game itself. As someone that understands the game development process, I have quite a few concerns, but on the other hand they also have showcased some decent progress and it does show promise. There are both positives and negatives. I believe every developer deserves the benefit of the doubt before they release the game and the chance to show what they can create. At this time we can't judge them on the quality of the game since it's not in a playable state. Personally, I really hope they deliver a good game and I have high hopes for Ashes of Creation. To some of you this might sound like copium, but I, just like many of you, want to have good MMORPGs, and as such I try to remain hopeful. I honestly think there is a good chance it will be a good game when it eventually releases. That being said, let's move on to the topic of this video. The team behind Ashes is really good at talking about a wide variety of systems and showcasing fancy visuals, and while most developers are very capable of doing that, they are updating the community on their progress more than most other developers ever will. But the small snippets they show in their monthly update videos are sadly not enough to make an educated judgment, and they may or may not be representative of the game as a whole. If you have been a gamer for more than 10 minutes, then you will be painfully aware of how things are sometimes made to look much better than they are in the actual game. The gaming industry is littered with games that misrepresented themselves. So what we can judge them on is their actions so far. After all, as the saying goes, actions speak louder than words. Personally, this project has raised more red flags for me than most other projects. And it's a weird feeling when you like some things and want it to do well, but then you see more of their actions and countless alarm bells start ringing. To make myself clear, it's not one particular action, it's a multitude of them combined. Almost all gaming studios do some morally questionable things when it comes to monetization. What ends up being concerning and unsavory is when they keep doing it. So to better understand what I'm talking about, we have to take a look at the whole picture. And to do that, we have to go back and start from almost the beginning of this project. This is a Kickstarter MMO, and it had an extremely successful campaign raising over $3 million on Kickstarter. This campaign started back in 2017 in May, and estimated that they will deliver a playable product by December 2018. Which arguably was not going to happen unless they were almost done with the project, which now, after so many years, we know they were not. For this Kickstarter campaign they also used a mostly pre-rendered video which was made in Unreal Engine, and they even used assets brought from the Unreal Engine store. Personally I don't have a problem with store-bought assets, after all they are made to be used, but I do believe a crowdfunded project should be transparent, and this should have been made clear during this campaign. Together with the unrealistic delivery date, it already makes them look disingenuous. But let's ignore this for now, since unlike most other crowdfunded projects, they did manage to eventually create something similar, and in my opinion, even better than what was shown in the original footage. And we can put the unrealistic delivery date up to them being a new studio, having no idea what they were doing at the time. Everyone makes mistakes, and if these were their only ones, this could have been a result of their lack of experience and not something intentional. So let's move on and see what else they did and why it was more than likely all this was intentional. Following the extremely successful crowdfunding campaign, they continued to crowdfund the game through their own website offering packs for sale, but more about this later. I just wanted to mention it here for the sake of following the timeline. The next unsavory action was to partner up with My.com. My.com was meant to be the publisher. If you're not aware of who My.com is, consider yourself lucky. In my opinion, they're one of the worst MMO publishers out there, and they employ some of the worst monetization tactics. On top of many of the problems, we could make an entire series on this company, but a quick Google search will provide you with plenty of examples of what kind of company this is. It's up to you to decide what this would have meant for Ashes, but I think people will come to the same conclusion. After massive community backlash, they ended up parting ways with My.com and deciding to publish the game themselves. Not going through with this collaboration was a good decision, but their initial intention adds another reason for concern, because let's face it, they would have went through with it if not for the massive community backlash. The next unsavory milestone is the early access release of the game called Ashes of Creation Apocalypse in 2019. This was an early access battle royale game released during the battle royale hype. It had horrible reception, most people hated it, but it really doesn't matter if the game was good or bad. For the record, it was quite bad. The real problem was that nobody asked for this game, and if this studio was not crowdfunded to make this game, They claim that this is a combat test for Ashes of Creation, but this is just an empty statement with absolutely no evidence to back it up. The game was released as an entirely new title on Steam, not as a test for the MMO. It also had a fully fledged cash shop and all the other monetization elements that usually come with Battle Royale games, as well as various in-game elements that only made sense in a Battle Royale environment. Make no mistake, development resources were used to produce things that would never have been used in an MMO. The only connection it had to the MMO was that they said cosmetics bought in this game will be available in the MMO as well, and of course it shared some assets and code. As said before, actions speak louder than words, and the extra effort they went through to release it as a separate title on Steam speaks for itself. There is no doubt in my mind that if this game would have been successful, the same thing that happened with Fortnite's Battle Royale and Save the World mode would have happened here. Regardless of the massive failure it was as a Battle Royale game, it could have been kept online and used to test the combat for the MMO. They could have been transparent about it. Their progress when it comes to the combat and this game could have been a wonderful medium for that. After all, that was what they originally claimed its purpose was. I guess this too can be overlooked by the most dedicated of fans if we don't consider their other actions, but we're starting to stack red flags and we're not done yet. It's time to talk about the packs they offer for sale on their website. I want to make it extremely clear that the price of these packs is not being brought into question. In all honesty, MMORPGs are extremely expensive to make. Developing an MMORPG requires a lot of money, and for a crowd-funded MMO, having an influx of money is vital to the continued development. So as gamers that would like this project to succeed, we should accept that these packs are needed. However, there are different ways this can be achieved. Just like most monetization options in any game, it can be done in a way that is not predatory. Judging by what we discussed so far, I'm sure you can guess how these have been implemented. These packs have a few notable elements. They offer access to different testing phases of the game and a variety of cosmetics. However, there are a few problematic elements here. First off, most of these cosmetics cannot be seen in-game. The reasonable way to provide these packs would have been to create the models in-game, and only after showcasing them they could have offered them in packs, so people would actually know what they would be getting. However, just like with the whole project, selling a dream, something that people can use their imagination on, does way better than selling something tangible. It's basic predatory sale tactics, and it's employed in full swing here. These packs are also timed, and they claim they will never be available again, employing a predatory tactic called fear of missing out, or FOMO for short. These packs are regularly being swapped out for new ones, providing new cosmetics for those that want them. Any one of these elements are not a major problem on their own. However, they become one when they're all applied together. If they truly respected their community and had any kind of moral compass, they would have showcased the contents in-game before selling these packs, and these packs would have been available until release or early access. But wait, there's more. It seems they couldn't help themselves and decided to do something questionable again. So, they announced they will be discontinuing the packs that give access to the Alpha 2, which is their upcoming test phase, basically attempting to create more FOMO and sell a few more packs. Their reason for this was that they reached the number of testers they wanted, but of course they also said they might choose to sell them again if they think more testers are required. So far it's in line with what they have previously done, but they went a step further this time. They said that Alpha 2 will be running until the release of the game, but also Alpha 2 will not become Beta 1 and Beta 2. Those tests will run for limited times in parallel with Alpha 2. This basically means that if you don't buy these Alpha 2 packs before they stop selling them, you might only be able to check out the game in some test phases and potentially be missing out on playing with everyone else that purchased them. If someone tells me that a game will have an alpha version, then a beta version, you'll most likely assume that the alpha version will turn into the beta version, like it happens with 99% of game development. Well, it seems that will not be the case here. And this is, at best, yet again, disingenuous, at worst, extremely scummy. This is the reason why I decided to make this video, because enough is enough. I'm in general a person that likes to give everyone the benefit of the doubt. Almost always I prefer to look on the bright side of things, and when I dislike something or judge that it's not for me, I tend to move on. But no matter how tolerant I am, when someone keeps displaying this kind of predatory behaviours over and over again, we have to talk about it. And this actually brings me to one of the last points of this video. I find it interesting when almost all major content creators have mostly good things to say about Ashes, something that almost never happens. You'll even find major content creators having a negative opinion about masterpieces like Elden Ring and Baldur's Gate 3. Yet a game that's not even playable yet has been in development for an exceeding amount of time and employs all these morally questionable tactics has exceedingly positive reviews. If any other game would pull something like this, a lot of content creators would have a field day, and we've seen it happen before for lesser reasons. If you've been following this project since its Kickstarter days, you probably saw 1 or 2 negative takes, even from popular content creators, but often enough these opinions were retracted. You can make up your mind on what this means. But I do have to talk about one system that may or may not have something to do with the overwhelming positive attitude of content creators towards the game. I'm talking about the referral program. Most of the time you'll notice these content creators either have a referral code on the screen or in the description of their video, and you might ask yourself, what's up with that? Well, Ashes has a referral program, and the wiki states, players who refer and invite new players can receive 15% of their account purchases back as intrepid bucks. This means that potentially someone with even a few hundred referrals will be able to buy everything in the store, giving those people a major incentive to recommend that others purchase the game. I've seen this argument that a lot of games have referral programs, and that's true, but I personally have never seen a referral program that gives these kind of benefits in a game that is not playable. I've seen many people defend these actions by splitting them up, and every single one of these actions might not be too terrible if it was on its own. As I said before, everyone can make a few mistakes, and as human beings we should be understanding, but when someone keeps making the same kind of mistake over and over, it's no longer a mistake, it shows clear intent. It's absolutely terrible and quite disgusting, because all the tactics they have employed have one goal: to prey on the most trusting of people, on gamers that simply want a good game. I've also heard the argument that the game needs money, and because of that these kind of actions are justified. This stance can be applied and will justify any kind of monetization, which should make you wonder if they're actually going to keep up with their word about other things that they said, or are they just going to justify any action using such logic? Playing word games like they are intending to do with the alpha and the beta tests brings into question every single thing they've ever said. For example, they could add one extra belt buckle to any of the skins they already sold as exclusive and say it's different, because technically they'd not be breaking their word. Just some food for thought. I will repeat myself. This in no way means that the game will be bad when it eventually releases. I'm still hopeful for what the game will be, but because I don't agree with these predatory tactics, I'll not be supporting it before it's in a playable state, and I'll be voting with my time and money. Everyone's free to choose what they do with their time and money. I just wanted to talk about these unsavory tactics and bring some light to these issues with Ashes that are very rarely discussed online, and when they are made light of. Personally, I've not seen any of the popular content creators actually discuss them in earnest, and if they would have done so, maybe the team behind the game would have stopped these unsavoury tactics long ago. Honestly, I don't think this will reach many people since this is a very small channel, but I do hope it reaches at least a few of you and at least makes some of my fellow gamers think about these issues. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Feel free to let me know what you think in the comment section below, regardless if you agree or disagree with what I've said. However, keep it respectful, both towards the team behind the game and towards us. Subscribe and like or dislike if you feel like it. See you in the next one, gamers.